So what is truth? Truth is a word that you will hear quite often in non-dualist circles. I am a truth seeker, I'm a truth lover, absolute truth. But what does it all mean? What does truth mean in that context? Well, in our normal conversations, when we talk about something being true or false, we are talking about relative truth. We can compare two things to be either true or false, because they belong to the same level of reality. That is duality. All the objects out there, they belong to the same level of reality, they share the same reality, and within that we can compare them and label them true or false. They are pairs of opposites. Big, small, love, hate, beautiful, ugly, and so forth. The truth we are talking about, absolute truth, does not have an opposite. It simply is. It is that which is. That which simply is always true. So in that sense, a synonym of absolute truth is reality. We could argue that illusion would be an opposite to truth or reality. But that doesn't hold, because an illusion does not exist, while absolute truth is. So illusion and absolute truth do not form a duality, because one of them simply doesn't have reality and the other one is the total reality, is the reality, the one and only reality. And it is quite interesting to see that we have a very deep intuitive knowledge or an intuitive sense that there can only be one reality. And truth is what is meant by that reality. The reality of the universe, the reality of all the beings and all the minds and so forth. So how does this tie into non-dualism? If we look at our perceptions, then we have a very strong intuitive knowledge that perceiving itself has an element of reality, that it is real. I may look out of this window and see a fiery dragon flying across the sky. Then I'm quite rightly may doubt that the dragon is real. I might be dreaming, I might be hallucinating, but what is beyond a shadow of a doubt is that the act of perception itself, the knowing of seeing the dragon, that is absolutely real. So there is an element of reality in the act of perceiving that does not belong to the objective part of perception. The objects of perception are constantly changing. They are impermanent. We are dreaming, we are hallucinating, we are awake. So we just do not have this element of reality on the objective side of the perception. This means that this element of reality in our perceptions belong to the subjective side of perception. And that means that what we are is the reality of our perceptions. That reality is what we call consciousness, the knowing of our perceptions. Now, if we know that to be true, together with that we also know, intuitively know that there can only be one reality, then that what we are, the reality of our perceptions, consciousness, is that reality. So with this we have completed the fundamental equation, if you like, of Advaita or non-duality. That is, that truth is reality, is consciousness. Now you can still doubt why can there only be one consciousness, one reality? Well, let's assume that you think that I have my own consciousness, which I believe to be the reality of my perceptions, and you have another reality, your consciousness, which you believe to be the reality of your perceptions. The problem arises when these two need to interact. How can two realities interact with each other? That can only happen if both of these realities arise from a third reality. That this third reality is the origin or the reality of both these two separate realities. And that kind of negates them. Because then that which is the reality of our perceptions becomes this third reality, which is the absolute reality, the one that gives rise to the others. And this is the hard part of non-dualism, to experientially, through self-enquiry, find out that first of all, what you are is the reality of your perceptions, and secondly, that this reality is the only reality there is, so that consciousness is universal.